In our first story, a major rainstorm in the northern region town of Yendi has displaced over 900 residents. 2 children are also listed as injured in the storm, which lasted for about an hour. Mohammed Nuruddin reports this is the first rainstorm of the year.
The rainstorm, according to officials of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, ripped off the roofing and razed to the ground 368 rooms in 91 houses. These victims of the rainstorm, who are temporarily seeking shelter from family and friends, include some teachers like Issa Salifu, who has been recounting his loss to Joy News.
It was midnight, so suddenly we heard the noise. Before we realize, we come out and meet this incident. And we are now looking to the eyes of donors and government to assist us, because most of us are teachers. And you know, teachers, the situation in which we are. Went for a loan. I went to Barclays Bank for a loan. They just start deduction. I have contract with them about 5 years, and they just start deduction about 6 months now. And now I can't go back for loan. I can't go back. And my people, where to sleep is a problem.
Municipal Chief Executive Issa Zakaria, who led a team of NADMO officials to assess the extent of damage, tells Joy News he is overwhelmed by the level of destruction to property and appealed for external support.
I went around with the NADMO coordinator and his staff, so we tasked them to take statistics of the extent of the damage.
The MC was also worried over residents using substandard building materials to construct their homes.
And we're being told this is the first rainstorm for the year. And it just means that the weather is quite going to be harsh in some sectors or some areas of the country. We're talking about how harsh the weather is going to be. Conditions over the last few months have also left portions of the Songo Lagoon, which runs through Ada Totope in the Dangbe East district, dry. Residents, as a result, are also unable to fish from the lagoon, which has always provided their source of livelihood, with parents especially struggling to educate their children. Joseph Opoku-Gapo was in the community and reports that residents are also blaming salt manufacturing companies in the area for the problem.
Totope sits in what is described as the Ada Peninsula, surrounded on 3 sides by portions of the Songo Lagoon, but still connected to land. Although the sea is not far from them, the about 3,000 residents rely mainly on the lagoon for their livelihood.
The people of Totope are predominantly fishermen, and the women are fish processors. Now, anytime the lagoon is full, especially during the rainy season, we depend on it for our livelihood. We get the tilapia, we get the crab, we get the mudfish, and some other fish species.
What you see in the background, there's an area that used to be portions of the Songo Lagoon, which residents in this community used to rely on in order to catch the very little tilapia, fry, consume, and sell some to the rest of the country. But for several months now, particularly since around November last year, the water here has dried up. The result is that all the crab and other fish that they used to catch from within the lagoon to help with their economic activities are no more. What I'm sitting on is a boat which is to help in getting onto the lagoon in order to get fish to bring out here. But now it's sitting on very dried ground.
During the rain season, you could see that where we are sitting, the river covers the place where we are sitting on the boat now.
Last year was a bad time for the lagoon. It started drying up around June. By November, it was all gone, taking along with it the source of income for several residents.
We have a school at Pute called Pute Presby and then Pute DAGHS. During the rain season, you could see that there is an increment in the population of the school. The enrollment has gone high. But during this time, when you go, you may see that a lot of people have dropped out from the school because the parents do not get money to feed them, given to them as their feeding fee. And also, some of them, their uniforms are torn, they are spoiled, and their parents couldn't get money to sew new ones for them. So through that, their friends be laughing at them. So some of them end up stopping the school or dropping out from the school.
Residents who relied on the lagoon to produce salt for sale have lost their jobs. Those who operated canoes on the lagoon also have no jobs now. They blame the situation on salt manufacturing companies in the area.
There are some divers who are at the overbank. They dig ponds to manufacture salt. And what they do is that they draw the water from the lagoon. They spark their generators and then machines to take the water from night to morning.
Traditional leaders want governments to stop their operations.
You know, if you look at the Ramsam site, it is of an international importance, and the Songo is part. I think government must come in, then the international communities, because Ghana is a party to that convention, the Ramsar Site Convention. No, looking at the biodiversity and all those things. Ghana is part of it. So government must put their feet down and then prevent the companies from doing it.
Now they are counting on the upcoming rainy season for a restoration of normal life. Until then, the community remains a troubled one. For Joy News, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, Ada Totope.
The National Diabetes Association is seeking support to set up youth centers across the country to help people living with diabetes. The association's president, Elizabeth Esi-Denyo, who was addressing the National Diabetes Youth Conference at Winneba in the Central Region, said an increasing number of people were becoming diabetic by the day, but hoped such centers would also help diabetics better manage their conditions and also slow the rate of increase.
According to Elizabeth Esi-Denyo, president of the National Diabetes Association, the proportion of the country's urban population becoming diabetic calls for drastic action.
Diabetes, the statistics now is 1 in 9 people in Ghana have diabetes, which comes to tell you that about 10 to 11% of our urban population are diabetic. Even in the urban population, because we do a lot of statistics in the urban areas, we are not able to go deep in the hinterland to do rural population, but it's equal even. If you go deep, now we are having a lot of cases coming from the rural areas too.
The national president, also a director at the Non-Communicable Diseases Outfit of the Ghana Health Service, says people living with diabetes should seek help from the association to help them manage the disease.
If we are able to roll this program well, by the year 2020, diabetic children will not have to go to the curative setup or the hospital setup that we're going to look for treatment. The youth leaders in the various communities will liaise with health institutions and community health nurses to provide the children with all their needs. Any child with diabetes out there is a lot for you to learn, and there are people who care. So if you have diabetes, try to contact the Youth with Diabetes Ghana, acquaint yourself with them, work together with them, and then at the end of the day, we have free insulin, free glucometers, free strips, and even sometimes we pay for their laboratory bills. So they mustn't see it as a death sentence. If you know anybody living with diabetes, the person is below 25 years, the person must know there is help.
The medical doctor in charge of the diabetics clinics at the Ghana South Municipal Hospital, Dr. Augustine Kwesi, asks Ghanaians to be wary of the consumption of junk food to avoid developing the disease.
We have to change our way of life in Ghana. The fast foods, these junky foods, as we call it in America, all these foods are bringing a lot of diseases to children. You can see some of the children, they are in these affluent homes and they never do any exercise. They don't associate with anybody because they are pampered and everything is bought from the fast food for them to eat, and they don't exercise. We need exercise. We need socialization. We need to eat our own manufactured food in Ghana here, especially our plantains, cassava, cocoyams, and contemporaries.
Now let's turn our attention to some politics. And the New Patriotic Party says it will build 350 day senior high schools from 2017 if the party wins power in this year's general elections. The pledge appears to challenge one made by the National Democratic Congress to construct some 200-day senior high schools, which was a major component of the governing party's campaign message prior to the 2012 polls. Communications Director of the MPP, Nana Komia, tells Kwacha Frenyama of our political desk his party has a grand strategy to make this very promise a reality.
You know, this whole idea of John Mahama, the president, saying I'll do 200 schools was in reaction to Nana Akufo-Addo's plan to build 350 day schools as part of the free SHS. You remember that part of the plan was to build 350 day schools. And so John Mahama also brought this thing that I'm also going to build schools. It wasn't part of their original plan.
So Nanado intends building these 300 and how many?
350, yes.
When the MPP comes in power?
Yes, as part of the free SHS.
So you'll be building 350 in how many years?
4 years.
That's achievable.
If you commit the resources.
How many are you going to build each year?
Look.
And then how many are you going to build each year?
350, 4 years. It's a matter of commitment of the resources.
How many are you going to build in 4 years? You have 4 years, first term. How many are you going to build each year?
Well, divide the 350 by 4. You'll get the amount that will build, the quantity that will build in the year. But you see, like I said, the whole thing is about managing the economy properly, being prudent in your spending. Look, the NDC, in the year 2012, they took $65 million of our oil money. You know what they said they were doing with it? Capacity building. So look at the monies that they take from our oil money that they say they are doing capacity building. In 2012, it was $65 million 1 year. Now, if they had decided to invest that money in secondary schools, building day schools, because each of these day schools is about 3.5 million or so, but they decided to commit, and this is in the official records. If you look at the report to Parliament on the use of the oil money, in 2012, $65 million for 2013, another $40 million. They say it's for capacity building. That monies alone, supposed to be for capacity building, could build 350 schools in 4 or 5 years.
And we still have to focus on education, as the rector of the whole Polytechnic, Professor Emmanuel has lamented the outrageous increment in utility tariffs, which he says is taking a toll on the smooth administration of the institution. He explained that a huge portion of the school's internally generated funds is now being used to pay utility bills, which, according to him, is draining the school's coffers.
Addressing the 16th congregation of Hope Poly, Prof. Sechi, who was unhappy with the ever-increasing utility tariffs, wailed that officials of the electricity and water companies have been on the neck of the school's management to settle its utility bills. He, however, called on government to intervene as the school does not have the means to do so.
Now, there is the ever-increasing utility bills, which has gutted our finances. The electricity bill has been on the increase. Water bill has been on the increase. And the managers of these utility facilities are always pursuing us for their monies. The issue is still being discussed at the Ministry of Education. It is our hope that government will help in addressing this particular problem.
Prof. Sechi also mentioned that the Polytechnic is in dire need of lecture halls and pleaded with the GET Fund to release funds for the completion of lecture halls projects that have stalled over the past years. That notwithstanding, Prof. Sechi reiterated his call on government to lift the embargo on employment in the public sector, explaining that some lecturers have retired while others are deceased and there's an urgent need for these vacant positions to be filled.
We are trapped in a system, in a policy where embargo is currently laid on replacement as well as recruitment of new staff. Let me take this opportunity to make a special appeal to government to consider this particular challenge. It is a very difficult one, and we will be grateful if government will give us clearance to replace those colleagues, especially those who are on retirement and those who are passed on to glory.
The Volta Regional Deputy Minister Francis Ganyaglo urged the graduates to take advantage of the conducive environment the NDC government has created for entrepreneurs and become job creators rather than job seekers. The 16th congregation witnessed 888 students graduating from the school. 871 graduates were honored with higher national diplomas, and the rest, 17, honored with Bachelor of Technology degrees. 60 of the graduates obtained first class, 405 obtained second class upper, 401 obtained second class lower, while 13 managed to pass. Sunday Agbede was adjudged the overall alumni best student. A report by Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
And that's it for the news this morning. As always, you want to get interactive, make sure that you log on to our Facebook page, Joy News on TV. It's been linked to our Twitter handle at Joy News on TV. And we have a number on WhatsApp, 0560 800,000, for you to give us a lot more of your comments. We know today is International Women's Day. And just from your community, whether you're in Fumbisi, Zebila, or you're somewhere in the Kumeu area or Ejusso, and you think that a woman is in your community doing a lot more than you think, please let us know. And we just want to shower a lot more praises on our women and also urge them to do a lot more than they're doing. And so now we have to look at what the stories are on the front and back pages of the newspapers. We'll also be looking at what the stories are on the news portals, foremostly myjoyonline.com. Do say, we'll be right back.